Hello everyone, welcome to the Recovery Academy. Today I'm talking about anorexia and anorexia recovery. Anorexia nervosa is a mental health condition that has a lot of stigma and a lot of misunderstanding. So my hope with today's video and the videos for the rest of the month, you're going to get some clarification and some information on anorexia recovery. Hey y'all, it's Dr. Stephanie Waite with the Recovery Academy, where every week I give you tips, tricks, and tools to fight recovery and become a recovery warrior. Today I'm talking about anorexia recovery. Anorexia is a mental health disease. Let me go back and say that, and let me say it a little bit louder for those at the back of the room. Anorexia is a disease. It is not a choice. We know it's a disease because of the way it affects the brain. This isn't just you choosing to not eat. This isn't you choosing to feel like shit. This isn't you choosing to be stressed and anxious and overwhelmed. This isn't you choosing to have potential health consequences for the rest of your life because you don't want to eat something. It's a disease that causes you to legit fear your body changing. It's so scary to think about gaining weight. Even losing weight feels really scary. It's just you're constantly obsessing about your weight, and it's just never good enough. Even when you think you have this goal weight in mind, and let's say you do things to get there and it just doesn't feel right, you still feel icky and you want to just keep losing and losing and losing and losing and losing and losing makes you feel anxious, but it also makes you feel like in some way you're accomplishing something at the same time. Anorexia is a disease because it affects the brain and makes people have a very scary relationship with food. Sometimes it starts as simple as wanting to diet. There are many stories and experiences of people talking about how their anorexia got started. So there's not just one way of flipping the anorexia switch in our brains, but sometimes it starts with a diet or, wanting to lose weight. Maybe you were bullied. Maybe something bad happened to you and you have these really uncomfortable feelings and pain and experiences in your body that feels really uncomfortable for you. Or maybe you had a bad food experience and now it feels really hard to eat. The motivating force behind anorexia is also this desire to restrict, where food isn't safe, food feels really scary. You have a list of foods that are okay to eat that's maybe about this long, and your list of foods you can't eat is this long, and you're constantly adding foods to it. And you just aren't able to get enough food in your brain and in your body to feel better. There's health issues. You're physically declining. You're mentally declining. You're emotionally declining, meaning feeling, thinking, and physically health-wise getting worse because it's impossible for you to feel comfortable enough around food to eat. We know that people who have anorexia have some similar personality traits. Now, just because you may have some of these personality traits doesn't mean that you're going to get anorexia, and you may have anorexia and not have any of these personality traits. That's okay. This isn't absolute, but a lot of the times we see that people with anorexia are very high achieving, high focused, perfectionistic, black and white, all or nothing thinking, very rigid, very structured, very busy, but also overwhelmed, also anxious, also stressed out. And a lot of the time, sometimes this food discomfort, body discomfort started at a young age. But again, just because I said that doesn't mean that you can't develop anorexia later in life, because that certainly can happen too. For example, women going through hormonal changes and body changes, menopause, perimenopause, that does all kinds of stuff to the hormones in the body that women feel really uncomfortable. So certainly anorexia can happen later in life. It can happen in your 20s. So again, just because I'm giving you this information in this video doesn't mean it's 100% for you. It's generally speaking. What makes anorexia challenging is that as you restrict food and you limit the energy and the nutrients that your body needs and that your brain needs, your brain starts to become malnourished. This may start and may in the beginning just seem like feeling tired all of the time, very irritable, very anxious. Like even though you might be getting 8 hours of sleep, you just don't feel rested. You're just exhausted and tired. Maybe you're not sleeping very well, and you don't feel hungry. The body stops telling you that it's time to eat. Your body is still hungry because, well, we're humans and we need to be eating every 2 to 3 hours. That's just the way biology works. But when you have anorexia, your hunger cues and your fullness cues get all mixed up and miscombobulated, and so you're not eating when you're hungry. So it's really malnourishing your brain. And what happens, the malnourished brain starts to get the message that food is bad because energy is having to be conserved. Energy is having to go to different body systems, right? Like your brain is deciding on, I want to keep you alive, so I'm going to take energy from different parts of you because you're not feeding me, and I have less energy to focus on food and eating. So then, because you are starving and you present food, it becomes a threat. The brain sees this as, ooh, see, this is something bad. We can't eat this food. So the food becomes really scary to eat, which again, it's not your choice. You would eat if you could eat. You want to eat. You're hungry. You don't feel well. But it feels really like, oh my God, this plate of food is going to harm me. And that's because that's the message your brain is getting. That's why this is a disease and not a choice. Again, you're not choosing to see food this way. Your brain is seeing food this way. Even though this is a tough disease, even though this is a disease that has a lot of stigma around it and a lot of misunderstanding, it is the most deadly mental health condition. Even those things are true. Recovery is totally possible. You don't have to die from your anorexia. Now I'm about to go into the 4-step recovery process, but keep in mind that I've broken this down into 4 steps. They're not simple, and it's not as easy as step number 1, step number 2, step number 3, step number 4, and I'm recovered. This is a hard process. I always say recovery is a journey, but I've broken it into 4 steps to sort of, I guess, try to explain, to help understand how recovery works and how you can move forward. So the first step to recover from anorexia is to eat. Again, easier said than done. I know that. But if your brain isn't nourished, it's really hard to do steps number 2, 3, and 4. So that's why you want to get nourished and eat to improve how your brain functions. So then you can move into step number 2. Step number 2 is all about understanding the way your brain thinks, the way your brain sees your body, the way your brain sees food, the way your brain sees yourself, and understanding, are these thoughts helpful thoughts, or are these thoughts eating disorder or distorted thoughts? Step number 3 is learning how to manage your emotions, right? It's really hard to stay fully recovered if you don't have any tools or any resources to help you deal with depression, to help you deal with anxiety, to help you deal with frustration. A lot of the times what I see happen is people that I am working with in recovery, life happens and they get upset and they go back to behavior. So you want to learn on how to deal with your emotions without taking it out on your body and without ruining or harming your relationship with food. And then the last step is growing your support, building resources, and understanding the things that are going to trigger you, the things that are going to make you want to go back into your eating disorder. This is strengthening your self-esteem. This is building self-confidence. This is you leaning into those values and becoming and living that ideal self that you want to be. That's what step 4 is all about, because you're going to be triggered. You're going to encounter upsetting, overwhelming, bad stuff along the way. And when you can have that support and those triggers understood, and you have a plan for dealing with those things, you're less likely to trip up and relapse down the road. So there you have it. That's the 4-step process to anorexia recovery. Keep in mind, it's not as simple as I just laid out in this video. I kept this video short and I broke it down into the 4 major milestones that you want to work toward and you want to complete in your recovery. Because this is such a big topic, I'm going to keep discussing anorexia recovery, and I'm going to go into these 4 steps over the next few weeks. So next week, we're going to dive in and we're going to look at step number 1, how you can eat more even though it feels really, really scary. Well, y'all, that's all I have for you today. I'm so glad you were here. So while you're here, if you liked this video, if you learned anything from it, give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to share it. You never know, someone in your life may be struggling with anorexia, and hearing this information may help them get on their road to recovery. Comment below. I would love to hear from you. I promise you are not bothering me if you comment, if you ask a question, or if you email me and let me know about you. I want to know about you. The more information I have, the more I can help you get information to help you along your recovery journey. While you're here, don't forget to subscribe. New videos come every single week. On Monday, you get a coaching video, and on Thursdays, you get a therapy tip. Check out the links below. Check out some more videos to help you along your anorexia recovery journey, but there's also a shit ton of great free resources for you to help you along your recovery journey. So keep kicking ass, and I'll see you next time. Bye.